Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. Alumacraft, the best aluminum street rod and hot rod grills. And by Top Coat, advanced coating solutions through innovation and technology.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat. You know, if you bought an International Scout like this one back in 1969, you'd find that it made a whopping 86 horsepower. So naturally, if you're restoring it like this owner is, you go for some LS power. It's easy to put in, it's easy to install, but when it comes to wiring, that can kind of be a strange voodoo, and why wouldn't it be when you have a mess like this to start with? So Andy, how do you take this and make it into this?
The goal is to make it very simple, very easy for anybody to install. So you could just send in something like this, and I send back something like this.
How much of this are you reusing on your LSX Specialties harness?
Maybe half of this. A lot of this stuff doesn't need to be in the harness, it doesn't go to the engine. That's all eliminated. Something like this doesn't need all the extra stuff in it, so it's kind of cuts down on the size quite a bit.
Now, every LS motor across the range, they're all a little bit different. So how do you handle that?
I build every single harness custom to the order. Injector connectors, PCM location, everything's got its own little difference between the motors. So I make them very custom.
And everything that is one color on this harness is the same color here, right?
Everything's GM colors, yep. The way that it came.
Excellent, making it easy to install. So it's all about the installation. So let's go take a look at how that works.
Perfect.
Now, the thing I really love about what you've done here is everything is labeled. Driver's side, passenger side, makes it super easy.
Yes, very simple, falls right into place.
And no two sensors are the same, so you can't really mess this up.
That's right.
The first couple connections at the back of the engine, what are we doing there?
That's the cam position sensor, very difficult to reach, but it can be done feeling around from the passenger side.
And that's really the hardest part of the install. Once you get past that, it's all downhill from there.
Yes.
Now, you include a wire for the speed sensor, but not every engine includes those.
Right, depending on the year of the transmission and the style.
But it's there in case you need it.
Right.
Cool. By the way, I forgot to ask you, what is this wrapped in?
This is seamless nylon loom. It's all braided. It's very durable when rubbing across the motor, and it's good for pressure washing, cleaning it all up, and it just looks really nice.
And getting underneath here, you got a couple O2 sensors to get to.
Just one on each side, yes.
And another little tricky one, the crankshaft position sensor, that's behind the starter.
Yes, also a lot like the cam sensor, just feel around and you can snap it in.
A few wires to connect then.
There's a constant battery wire, a switched ignition, and then power to the fuel pump, which already has a relay and a fuse.
And then the computer, and that is something you can help out with.
Yes, I can do all the programming in there. I can delete security, rear O2 sensors, anything that doesn't need to be there, transmission controls. I can build a good base tune for your combination also.
So I can send you my wiring harness, and I can send you my original computer, and you can take care of both.
That's right.
Only one thing left to do.
Let's start it up.
Do it. Just that simple.
Very simple.
It only went in a few minutes. It looks great, works perfectly. Check them out at LSX Specialties. You can find them on Instagram and Facebook, as well as their website.
Now, a vacuum gauge is a good way to see what's going on inside your engine. Now, you know, on the compression stroke, you're making compression, but on the intake, you're making vacuum, and you want to check the valves, exhaust. It does all kinds of cool things. I'll show you how I use it. Actually, unplug the brake booster right here. This is an excellent source of intake manifold vacuum. I'm just going to take the hose and put it inside of there. So when we crank it up, we're hoping we get some kind of vacuum and get a reading. I got somebody inside the car, so if you go ahead and crank it up for us. Perfect, man, this thing's got great vacuum. You're talking anywhere from 15 to about 26 inches of mercury of vacuum. That's good. Now, a couple of the readings. You can pull up this graphic right here. You can see the first one on the chart, that's actually normal vacuum, steady between 17 and 21. If you had an intake leak, well, then everything would be low. So you would see a steady but a low reading, somewhere between 5 and 10. You go around to the timing, ignition timing, and valves. That's usually indicated by a flicking valve. Something's going on with those valves. And last but not least, 2,500 RPM, hold your accelerator there. If it slowly drops to 0, you got a problem with the exhaust. Vacuum gauge reading, man, this is a great way to diagnose your car.
We are just getting started on Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat. And if you like the classics, you're going to love what we have in store for you. We'll revisit the National Street Rod Association Shindig in Kentucky. See this rare beauty and a whole lot more coming up.